an exciting keynote that was! We got tons of new hardware, some hardware we didn't even think we'd get. Okay, let me walk you through it. There's a very specific chronological order to this I have to get correctly. I won't. I'm joking. So it all started out with watchOS 4. We're getting a couple new watch faces with Toy Story, as well as kaleidoscope vision that kind of looks trippy. There's kind of like an underlining marijuana theme throughout this keynote. I'll get to that in a second. There's also the new Siri watch face because Siri is being updated across all of her devices to where now you can have widgets that adapt depending on what time of the day it is. That's really useful. And Siri also has this beautiful new logo that also makes its appearance on all the new devices. The activity app has been redesigned with new animations. The dock looks different now. So watchOS 4 is a pretty noticeable upgrade, but nothing too crazy like Scribble. I thought that was revolutionary. But for the most part, it's just kind of a UI refresh. After watchOS 4, they jumped right into the new name of macOS. What's it gonna be? We've had El Capitan, we've had Sierra. So now it's Hi Sierra. Literally, it's just Hi Sierra. This is where the marijuana jokes come in. It's YouTube. You guys can figure out all the jokes in the comments below. So they're making changes with messages and mail so that it'll save space on your computer. It's like messages are now stored in iCloud instead of on each device, so it's more like Facebook Messenger. When you log into iMessage on one device, all the messages are translated over because messages are stored elsewhere and not on each device, which takes up more storage. They made a couple changes with Safari. However, for the most part, High Sierra is not drastically different. There's a lot going on behind the scenes though. They're using the new Apple file management system, which is supposed to make things really fast. So duplicating files is now really quick. It's the same management system they used on iOS. So it's basically just really nice speed improvements, but visually not too many differences, which is fine. I like it the way it is. That's when they got into the hardware. So unexpectedly, they refreshed the iMac. They now have two Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports on the back, replacing the old Thunderbolt 2.0. They've improved the displays. They're more colorful, they're brighter now. So now all of the new iMacs have similar starting prices to before, actually a little cheaper, but all of their graphics have been updated. They're all getting 7th generation Intel Core processor chips, and they talked a lot about virtual reality, something I wasn't expecting. They did a whole HTC Vive demo that was entirely powered via 27-inch 5K iMac. They're showing off that with these new graphics cards, we can now have Steam VR as well as Unreal Engine. That type of virtual reality can now work with Macintosh, where before that was impossible. Next, they talk about the MacBook Pro lineup. No MacBook Air refresh, I told you. However, all the new MacBooks, including the 12-inch MacBook, is getting the 7th generation Intel Core processors as well, and the price of the 13-inch MacBook Pro with just function keys has been lowered $100. How about that? Products are cheaper. Can't complain. Then they teased the really cool thing. So it's not available yet, but coming in December, there is now going to be a new iMac Pro. It looks like it's space gray or matte black. It's got 4 USB-C ports on the back, just like your MacBook Pro, but it also has regular USB ports on the back, SD card slot, and even an Ethernet port. I thought that was gonna go away, but they kept it. Capable of 10 gigabytes per second transfer. And you guessed it, they kept the headphone jack. Big kind of why? I guess it's a professional device they figure they needed, but whatever. And the coolest part about this new iMac is not the fact that it has some of the best graphics cards ever, 8 gigs of dedicated GPU, 8 core processors, and even 10 core processors, and then they went all out. They didn't stop there. They went to 18 core processors. This thing is going to be the fastest Mac ever built. So all that's cool and all the specs are cool, but what's the coolest part about the iMac Pro? The fact that it comes with a black Magic Mouse and black Magic Keyboard. Apple, you need to make more things black. It looks so cool. I personally just want to buy the black Magic Mouse and Magic Keyboard as they are. I don't need the iMac Pro, just want that external mouse and keyboard stuff. That looks incredible. So pumped. It starts at $5,000 though, so that's insane. I don't know if I'll be able to afford it, but if you guys keep watching my videos and sending super chat, I won't say it's impossible because my channel is growing at an incredible rate and I'm so grateful for that. So the iMac lineup, as well as the MacBook Pro lineup, got a pretty decent refresh. Right after that, iOS 11 took up probably the biggest majority of this keynote. There's now augmented reality features. Things perform faster than before. They redesigned Notification Center so it goes straight to your lock screen. They redesigned Control Center so that it uses more 3D touch options, which I'm really excited for. I have the developer preview, so I'll be working on demoing all that for you as soon as I can. And on the iPad, iOS 11 is really changed. The dock can now have far more apps in it. You can now have slide over on either side of the screen, not just the right. Multitasking is a lot easier because your apps are just kind of laid out out, more like how Safari tabs are. And there's a new app that was leaked before the keynote even started called Files, where it's literally a file manager like you have on macOS, and it can even access third parties like Dropbox and Google Drive. You can access all your files on your iPad through the Files app. So when I said I don't think they were designing a file explorer, looks like I was wrong, but it's designed really, really well, so I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'm not really cool with it until Apple does it, then it's fine. That's what it means to be an Apple sheep. They also redesigned the App Store pretty heavily for iOS 11. They have a Today page and a Game tab and an Apps tab, and it kind of resembles Apple News a lot, and I think Apple's very proud of what Apple News created because customer satisfaction for that app was pretty high. So they're just kind of bringing that over to Messages and the App Store. Everything kind of looks different. They're changing the way the camera app compresses files so that they'll be even smaller than before to help you save space. Thank you, Apple. And they talked about having a do not disturb while driving mode where the phone kind of detects when you use your phone while driving and says, hey, maybe that's not a good idea. And of course you can turn that off. They're not going to force you to turn on do not disturb, but they're just going to recommend it just so that not texting while driving is a lot easier. Can't shame them for that. That's important. To demo the new iOS 11, they're also introducing 2 new iPad Pros. They didn't really call them iPad Pro 2 though. They just called them the new ones. The highlight though is the 10.5-inch iPad that has thinner bezels than before. Still a physical home button, but I am personally very grateful because they're finally shipping chargers that have fast charging, Lightning to USB-C cables. Thank you, Apple. You should have done this a long time ago. Should have done it with the iPhone 7, but you course corrected, and here we are. The cameras on the new iPad Pro are the same cameras they use in the iPhone 7, both the front-facing and rear, which means quality is going to be superb, and the refresh rate of this iPad is at 120 hertz. So apparently things just look incredibly smooth compared to before, as well as Apple Pencil drawing is just more fluid and better designed, I guess. They released some new iPad Pro cases that can actually hold your Apple Pencil now. Thank you. That's what I was asking for in the next generation. And now all the iPads start at 64 gigabytes of storage. Very, very high, and they extend all the way up to 512 gigs. That's a lot of storage, but yeah, I'll take it. Fan-freaking-tastic. So Siri was not highlighted as much as we thought it was, but Siri's vocals are a lot smoother now, and she understands context. She looks at on-screen things to learn more. So I think once we get the Google Assistant and Siri in a room together, we'll have a clear idea on Siri's improvements, which I'm sure are noticeable, but I am also sure the Google Assistant is better in certain ways. Now, the big wow factor that has a lot of people really angry, at least during my live stream, is Apple's new smart speaker called HomePod. Yeah, it's kind of a weird name. In fact, as soon as I heard it, I started laughing because it's just so unexpected, but it kind of makes sense. It stays in your home, and similar to AirPods, it's just a little pod. Literally, that's it. It's supposedly really small, but it has a lot of subwoofer power. It recognizes the room it's in with all the speakers it has around it, and it's exactly what I would expect from a new Apple product lineup. So for one, what do? You would name it something no one would guess. See, before the Apple Watch came out, we thought it was going to be called the iWatch. Nope, Apple tricked us, went the Apple Watch route. Didn't see that coming. So with this, everyone's like, Siri speaker, Siri speaker, Siri smart speaker. What's it going to be called? HomePod. Literally no one's prediction. Who on earth thought it would be called HomePod? But it's kind of growing on me. It rolls off the tongue fairly easily, and it's pretty descriptive of what it is. It's a smart speaker that you can talk to. It'll be available in December. It just went into production. It comes in space gray and white, and I'm very curious about comparing it to the Google Home as well as Amazon Echo. We'll see at the end of this year, and it starts at $350. That's a lot for a smart speaker, but it's what I would expect from Apple, because Apple is always the most expensive device within the competition, but typically they want to be with the best, and I think that's what they focused on with the HomePod. So I'll definitely be getting one. I'm very curious. And go ahead, write all your hate comments. Wow, Apple had a keynote and people were disappointed? That only happens every single time. People are writing, Apple's out of ideas. This was a letdown to me. And I own a MacBook, so I'm okay to say this. Shut up. There's not one single Apple product in existence that has been released where absolutely no one complained, and everyone called it innovative. Everyone always calls their new product stupid and shows that they're desperate. They said that about the iPhone, the iPad, the AirPods, the Apple Watch, and then they all exploded and then leaded their industry. So take that as you will. This was a very long and stocked full keynote, and I am very satisfied with it. I got a lot of what I wanted to see, and I think this compensates for not having a keynote earlier in the year. What did you guys all think of the Apple WWDC keynote? I just ordered my new iPad, so I'm very excited to unbox it and review it for you guys. Feel free to donate to Patreon to help me pay for it, but you don't have to. Just watching videos is supportive enough. I thought this was a very eventful keynote that we haven't had in quite a while. We finally know what the Siri speaker looks like, and I kind of like the design. It's very minimalistic, it's very simple and basic, and it's something Steve Jobs, I think, would be proud of. So let me know all your thoughts and hateful criticisms in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. And I do have to say, great thank you to everyone who watched the live stream reaction today. We broke tremendous records. The previous record for how many people watched a live stream at once on my channel was 300. Today we hit 2,000. That's insane, and luckily the live stream's saved, so you'll be able to watch it after the fact soon. It's a long one. It was like a 4-hour stream, but you guys in the super chat, as well as just in the chat in general, were extremely supportive, and I understand that Apple's probably going to be in a lot of fire right now, but I'm personally very, very excited, and I just wanted to thank all of you for joining me on today's live stream, and I'm very, very excited to install iOS 11, both on my iPad and iPhone, and I'll be doing demo videos of it as soon as I can. Thank you, everyone. Take care.